But first, because they may be gone, but their deeds outlive them, the headlines lingering from the previous administration's 50 running scandals still bushed. Number 3, Torture-Gate. We told you last week about the UN torture investigator calling for the prosecutions of George W. Bush and Donald Rumsfeld. Manfred Nowak says that international treaties oblige the U.S. to prosecute any of its own war criminals. Now Mr. Nowak has gone a step further. Without saying it will, Nowak says the UN has enough evidence to prosecute Rumsfeld. Nowak saying that the advice of Navy legal counsel Alberto Mora against ordering torture means that Rumsfeld knew what he was doing and did it anyway. So don't plan any trips overseas, Mr. Secretary. Number 2, History-Gate. A week ago tonight, non-President Bush was in Midland, Texas, repeating his claim that history's judgment of him will take time. He even said that we can't judge now because it takes people time to remember. You know, the way you remember 1988 much better than you do last year. So when does history actually arrive? It's getting here. William Dalrymple, renowned historian, writing in the New York Review of Books, quote, 8 years of neocon foreign policies have been a spectacular disaster for American interests in the Islamic world, leading to the rise of Iran as a major regional power, the advance of Hamas and Hezbollah, the wreckage of Iraq, and with over 2 million external refugees, and the ethnic cleansing of its Christian population, and now the implosion of Afghanistan and Pakistan, probably the most dangerous development of all. This in his review of Descent into Chaos, the United States and the Failure of National Building or Nation Building in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Central Asia. A glowing review. History took less than a week to deliberate. So now we await word from Dallas that Mr. Bush is awaiting the verdict of the historians, who will later review the stuff these historians are writing about him now. And number 1, Bailout-Gate. According to the Associated Press, banks have laid off more than 100,000 workers in the last 2 years. But at the banks that got bailed out for torpedoing our economy, 87% of the top executives who ran us into the ditch are still running things because the Bush bailout let them. Wells Fargo, in fact, brags about an unchanging vision, values, and time-tested business model, the same vision and business model that required $25 billion in corporate welfare. And the 13% who are no longer at the top of the corporate ladder, the AP says they often left because they retired or died. Now, of course, just because they might be dead, that does not necessarily mean they're not still eligible to apply for more bailout money.